You can either worry about the things you can't control and be miserable because of the latest Instagram changes, or you can just focus on the things you can control. And I know Instagram's algorithms sort of suck lately. The platform seems to be just all over the place, and growth is not just the way that it used to be. Or is it? Because while we've sort of gotten negative in our last video, it's actually still very much possible to grow on Instagram. In fact, just look at some of the messages my students sent me after the last video, which you should, by the way, watch because the overall points still hold true. But even with all of the problems Instagram has right now, it still is a pretty solid platform to build your brand. Just tell you how it is, especially if your main goal is not to become the next viral superstar. In fact, this whole viral superstar thing is just grossly overrated. I mean, just look at me, for example. I've made a full-time income when I just had about 2,000 YouTube subscribers on here. By the way, let me know in the comments if you want a video about this. And various people in my program, the IG Black File, make a living having not that many Instagram followers as well. With that being said, and we've talked about it here, adapting with the platform is the only way to grow nowadays. And naturally, some strategies require some refinements every once in a while. So let me show you two different strategies to actively grow your Instagram with real followers and convert them into fans, even though it seems like it's just too late. It's not. Now, the first step to getting things to work, and promise me you're not gonna laugh, is to delete your profile. I wish I was kidding, but I honestly believe the algorithm has some bugs. Not real bugs, but more like a natural chaos that's evolved over the years, especially the home feed algorithm. And I've seen it quite a bit with some clients who've been at this game for some time. Whether they have a lot of followers or not, it seems like they're just trapped by various parts of the algorithm, and it seems like they're sort of capped and stuck at a certain point. And you guys might know there's different parts of the algorithm, whether it's the penalty algorithm that sort of punishes you, or the content algorithm that just got confused because you pivoted your content, for example, some time ago, or the niche pivoted and you sort of missed the ball, or, you know, mostly it's a mix of all three. The social signals algorithm that tracks how your content is actually perceived, how people respond to things, and basically a million different data points coming together, just confusing the algorithm by itself, capping your potential to get recommended. And in my opinion, it's actually very hard to get out of this mess. Usually I'd say if you've been at this game, if you've been posting consistently for about 3 to 4 months without getting any traction, especially if your account is from pre-2020, you know, because this is where sort of some internal things changed, in my opinion. Start over, start from scratch. No matter how big your followers are, it doesn't help you anyway if you don't reach them. And if you actually swallow the hard pill and delete your old profile, or, you know, just start from scratch, you will see that this organic reach cap is sort of gone, and growing outside of Reels will be a lot easier again, especially if you implement the secret that I'm about to show you right now. Let me tell you about the content tree. As you might know, the days of posted content, throwing in a bunch of hashtags here and there, hoping it will sort of blow up, are long over. In fact, I actually believe these days were responsible for the algorithm getting confused and messing everything up right now. And Instagram obviously knows that as well. And in an attempt to save the platform, they've sort of changed the game, and you should change your strategy according to that as well, if you've ever had a strategy. And this is where the so-called content tree comes into play, which is basically a strategy to maximize your visibility using the algorithm while also fueling your brand, building fans with content that not always blows up, but content that actually builds those relationships and serves people in your target audience, and this is the secret thing, activates the algorithm gates of hell. The first step is to actually figure out which content type gets recommended in your niche the most, which content will actually give you the eyeballs that you need. And believe it or not, there's some niches, especially in certain demographics, where Reels are not performing at all yet. And this is the interesting thing, photos and regular feed posts seem to be doing a bit better again according to my latest research. So maybe they're twigging around here, which seems to be good, especially with accounts that didn't confuse the algorithm at some point. And because I sometimes get the question, long form videos, aka IGTV, aka RIP, aka videos longer than 30 seconds, don't even bother. Create a YouTube channel for these things. Now, once you know which types of content are your performers, the visibility boosters in your niche, if you will, it's time to craft the content tree, which actually doesn't even look like a tree at all. It actually has nothing to do with the tree. The first pillar obviously being content that gets you found, and in 90% of the cases right now, obviously it's some sort of reel, some form of reel. There's multiple forms of reels, in case you haven't heard about that in my other videos, but ideally it's at least one reel a day to boost your visibility to the max. If you can pull it off somehow, you know, create even 2 or 3 per day. One of them hijacking a trend and the others being more original content / evergreen content and stuff like this. And if you can't do one in a day, because a lot of people say that to me, just do as many as you can in a week. And if it's 2 per week, if that's all that you can do, whatever, still better than nothing. Make it a priority to create reels. That's just how the game works right now. If you want to actually grow your brand on Instagram, get into the whole groove. The next pillar, and this will be very interesting for a lot of you guys, regular posts. You know, whether it's educational posts, photos, or carousels even, or just text posts, you know, photo text posts. Don't forget about them. And this is where I think Instagram in the long term could have an advantage over TikTok because it's diversified. And this is where a lot of people understand the whole game wrong, because this game's actually pretty new, especially in terms of the new algorithm, because we figured out something very interesting. The main purpose of those feed posts is actually not to get the maximum reach. It's actually to build a repertoire that people can binge your content on other than reels. I'll explain this in a bit, but if you can actually pull this off, it will activate the algorithm floodgates for you. Everything will sort of start to fall into place. You're gonna see your content get recommended in the explore page and as the suggested post, and you're also gonna see your reels getting more recommended. And ideally, those regular feed posts are scattered all over the week. I'd say 3 to 5 a week should be fine. And you know, like I said, don't be mad if you don't get the reach that you got with reels or get with reels, because like I said, these posts are actually here for the long run to get binged on. Let me explain. Usually a typical follower journey looks something like this. The most people will obviously come to your profile after seeing your reels, and people typically need to see multiple reels to recognize you and to get you on their radar. Talking about the rule of 7 and stuff like this, and that's why you want to increase the post frequency to the maximum amount that you can make. By the way, if you haven't done it already, and you could do it again by the way, I have a free 10-day reels challenge with a free workbook to guide you through the whole process on how to actually get reach with your reels. Link down below, totally for free. Then if you've done this process for some time and you're on their radar, they'll tap on your profile and see what else you got. And this is where your regular posts should start to shine, because according to my research, the time people spend visiting your profile is the most valuable indicator for Instagram. So having posts that people sort of binge will boost your chances of getting recommended a lot, especially if you get them off the sort of fast-paced reels feed and into a different rhythm. You know, your profile, other content of yours. And lastly, sort of the leaves on the tree that doesn't actually look like a tree. Make sure to always have stories there to connect with people even more, so people actually sort of see it yet another side of you. To have call to actions in there to get more people to actually connect with you and hit the follow button. Very important in terms of converting more of those eyeballs into followers, which is, by the way, another trick to counter this whole algorithm issue. The more people you can get to convert into followers, the more your profile will be labeled as high value, high quality. And this video right here will teach you the exact steps to implement that in your account, making your profile as high quality as it can be for the algorithm.